What's going on, everyone? Garrett Zatlin here, and welcome to a very special bonus episode of the Blue Oval Podcast. Today, we have none other than Stanford's Juliette Whittaker and Arkansas's Bella Whittaker, the Whittaker sisters, here for a 20-minute chat. Thank you to On is sponsoring and partnering with us for this upcoming week of national meet coverage for the NCAA Indoor Championships, where we'll also be able to get to follow some of the journeys and some of the performances of their top NIL athletes. Among those athletes are the Whittaker sisters. And so we were lucky enough to sit down and chat with them. If you're not familiar, Juliette Whittaker, 157 over 800 meters. She ran that time this past summer at the Paris Olympics, where she made it to the 800-meter finals. She's a multi-time national title winner between the DMR and the 800 meters and is flat out excellent. Her sister, Bella Whittaker, after transferring from Penn to Arkansas earlier this past year, Bella has since run 49.9 seconds over 400 meters to place second at the SEC Indoor Championships. She was also an Olympian, being named to part of the U.S. 4x4 relay team roster in Paris as well. She'll be, just like her sister Juliette, a national title contender in the women's 400 meters. Got a really easy, fun show for you today. They were awesome. Had a blast talking to them. They're super fun. And in the meantime, sit back, relax, enjoy, and stay tuned for a few more interviews coming your way. All right, I am now here joined by Juliette Whittaker of Stanford and Bella Whittaker of Arkansas. I almost said Penn, but formerly of Penn. Ladies, thank you both so much for joining me today. And Bella, as the older sibling myself, I believe I'm going to give you the first question as well. So I need to know, as the most recent on signing, or at least one of the more recent on signings of the NIL space here, what's it been like? Your first season in, and the winter season's almost wrapped up. What's it been like? What have been some of the things that you haven't really expected to happen, or what's it been like to now be on the NIL roster with your sister? Just talk about that first season with On.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's been so fun. I honestly love the community at On. I think they're really intentional about the athletes that they sign, and really particular, which I kind of love because it makes you feel very special, but it also it gives them the time and the resources to be able to really treat you kind of the best that they can, which I really love. Kind of I don't know, like I got like a birthday, like I got sent cupcakes from On for my birthday like about a little bit ago, which was like really, really sweet. They're always sending things. I knew this through Juliette, hearing things about them. So that's why I was so excited to be a part of it. So it's honestly just been, they really welcomed me in. It's been fun being one of their first sprinters. I know it's not an area that they have a lot of history in, so it's fun to kind of start that and see where we can take it. So yeah, it's been really fun.
Yeah, and it's been really fun to kind of see you sign with them, and now you're the best season of your career. But Juliette, you've been kind of with On really since the NIL space kind of first began, and since it first began being invested, and you're now what, almost coming up, I guess, 2 years almost. In your 2 years now with On, what are some of the things that you didn't necessarily expect when you first signed with On, that you go, oh wow, this is, I guess, whole part of the relationship and dynamic that I've had with them? What has been your experience over those last 2 years, especially now that you've been with them for a bit longer and during this more extended NIL space?
Yeah, it's been such a fun experience. I think like one of the biggest thing that I wasn't really expecting was like when I signed, like I kind of saw it as like this like individual, kind of contract that I was like creating. And I kind of just thought it was going to be like a me and On kind of like relationship. But it's been so cool that like it kind of felt like I'm on like another team with all the other On athletes as well. Like it's really cool. I feel fortunate because like a few of my teammates actually like at Stanford are also with On, but it's also been so cool to like get to know other On NIL athletes from like across the country. Like it's been so much fun, especially like last year at the trials, like they had a few of like the On NIL athletes come out. So like I got to meet like Ashley Jones and like all these other athletes. That's been like just really cool. I didn't realize I was gonna like create such a relationship with not only just the brand, but also everyone else who's a part of the brand.
Yeah, and we're excited here at TSR. I think we're lucky enough to have Ashley Jones and Lindsay Butler, two On NIL athletes, also joining us for freelance work there as well. So very excited on that end. But in the intro, I mentioned that both of you guys are Olympians. Juliette making the 800-meter finals this past summer. Bella, you were on that 4x4 relay roster as well. Bella, as a older sibling myself, and as someone who is very invested in the success of my younger brother, what's more nerve wracking? Is it towing the line for the NCAA championships, or is it watching Juliette go through the rounds of the 800 meters at the Olympic Games?
Yeah, it's going to have to be watching her go through the rounds. Every time I watch her run, and every time she finishes, and I'm like, there's no reason for you to be stressed because she always like excels and does exactly what she needs to do to get to the next round or to whatever it may be. But I have so many like because it's you can't control anything. I can't control. I just have to sit and watch. And I just don't like when she's stressed. Like it's like, dang, she's so stressed. Like, don't be stressed. Like it's just like a stressful experience for us all. Everyone in my family included. Like you should have seen us in the stands at the Olympics. We're all like, oh gosh, I don't know. So it's just, it's a stressful experience. But of course she always shows up, shows out. So
I completely understand. I very much can relate to that. But Juliet, you were the one again, going through these rounds. You were the one in the races. I'm sure you've again talked about your Olympic experience extensively, but just for our listeners, can you just walk us through the fact that you qualified for the Olympics, then got out of the first round, then the second round, then you're in the final. Can you just talk about like the emotions, the stress, like the nerves, like how exciting that must have been in that whole process?
Yeah, no, I felt pretty much every emotion possible. I feel like what like going through the trials, that's probably where I was the most nervous just because like I really just wanted to get there and like get to like 2 years ago, I think it was like at USA's like I had fallen before like like in my semifinal and like my goal had been to make it to the final. So this year I was like, okay, like just get to the final. And then I got to the final and then I was like, okay, like let's see if I can make the team. And then I made the team. And like so each round I kind of just like set a new bar and like it was like okay like let's just try and have a great first round and then I made it to the semis and I was like okay like let's try and make it to the final like it was just kind of like continuously like making a new goal to kind of just like try and work towards. And so yeah, I would say like the trials were more nerve wracking. Once I got to the Olympics, it was more of just like a I'm happy to be here. I'm pretty content with being here. Like I feel still pretty young and like inexperienced in the whole running, realm of things. And so I kind of was just like, this is a learning experience. Like I'm gonna be able to use this moment for the rest of my running career. Like let's just see what I can do. And it helped like obviously having Bella there, like we were roommates, so that helped calm the nerves. And also just like all of our family, like we had a lot of family there. And I knew they were just so excited for me to even be there. So I knew there was no expectation coming from them. So yeah, it was really just like such a special and really fun experience.
That's awesome. Yeah, and to make you feel any better, America was constantly nervous throughout each round. Optimistic, wildly optimistic, but I remember being like, why am I so nervous? I didn't have any, initial connection beforehand. Um,
I'm
but
glad that was felt throughout then.
oh, it was absolutely. And my friends who don't understand track and field are like, why are you so nervous? I'm like, don't bother me. This is my important day here. But 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 um but Juliet, in terms of some of Belle's performances, can you talk to me as to maybe like how scared you were when you saw that she ran 2:02 for 800 meters in her first ever 800-meter race? I saw you had some kind of post or reaction to that, right?
Yeah, no, I made a post on my Instagram story and everyone like was sliding up on it, like loving what I said. But I was like, you're amazing, but also please stay in the 400. Like, please don't switch over. Cause I like remember like what before she ran the eight, like I was like, I feel like she's gonna run something really fast. But obviously, like I didn't know it was like that fast, like to that extent. I don't know if I was expecting a 202. Like I knew she could do it, but I'm also like, okay, she's been training like as a 400-meter runner, like a 202 would be fast for an 800-meter runner. And like, she's not an 800-meter runner, but maybe she should be. Cause yeah, when she ran that, I was like, oh gosh, like, please let me keep this event. Like, I let you have the four. I'm not trying to race you in the four. Like, I don't want you to come into the eight. So yeah, I was very happy for her, but I was like, okay, one and done, please.
And I had no arguments with that too, because I was like, one and done for me as well. I do not want to do that again. This is terrible.
You ran 2:02, Bella. You ran 2:02 in your first one. I mean, hey,
That
listen.
hurts a
So
lot.
at TSR, we cover the distance events. Eventually, we'll move down closer to the 4 and the sprints. Okay, but for my sake, I was like, please keep running. I want to keep writing about this. I want to keep writing the headlines here. So, is there no incentive to go after the 800 again?
I fear that my coach has already said that it's not gonna be my last time, unfortunately. But I have to keep reminding him, and he's like, "Yes, Bella." I'm like, "But I'm still a 400-meter runner, right, coach?" And he's like, "Yes, Bella, you're still a 400-meter runner. But we can see if we can run a fast 800." So I fear I might be in a couple more, but the emphasis is still definitely on the 4. So Juliet and I don't foresee me being the level Juliet is in the 800, so it's gonna be okay.
No,
Well,
it was funny after my first meet when I did the 800 because like I finished and like I had run like 202 something I think, and like my first thought was like, did Bella beat me? Like I was like, please tell me this was faster than Bella. And I think it was, but like by like maybe point one.
No,
I was
you
like
got
right
me.
ahead of her on like the T-First list.
And then
it is.
proceeds to run her 159 after that. So it's
Well, she only has a little more experience, right? Just a little bit. It's absurd to me that someone in the family can run that fast and then question if they are still faster in the family that weekend. Such a ridiculous like thought process. But Bella, the middle distances has been slowly what Arkansas, 400 has always been Arkansas's like bread and butter. But like the 800 recently, like you guys have been killing it. The depth is extremely extensive. Can you talk about what's kind of going on there in Fayetteville and how you guys are able to pump out sub
yeah.
204, sub 205, 800-meter runners?
Yeah, no, we have a super gritty group of 800 girls. Like they're so fun to watch. And unfortunately, I think part of the reason why I was able to run such a fast 8 was I did do a couple workouts, more than a couple, honestly. And every day I would look at coach and I'd be like, "No, please not today." And he'd be like, "Bello, get with the 800 girl." I'd be like, "No." But they pushed me like for sure. And then kind of the closer we got to the season, like the more I kind of did a lot have the 400 which I of course loved. Um and and yeah, and so I feel like shoot, where was I going with that? I totally lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, so I've been able to watch them now do a lot of their 800 training, and they're not only the thing is they can all run really fast fours, which I think is so cool. And they're also just so strong because the volume that we do at Arkansas is unlike anything I've ever experienced. So it's just they have really the best of both worlds, and coach is like I think he wants to really make a stand that he can really coach really successful 800 runners as well as 400 runners, and people that can kind of do it all, honestly. So it's been really fun to kind of see them do their thing, and I'm excited for nationals for them as well as Juliet, of course. And Juliet, I will always be cheering for Juliet. But yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Juliet, speaking of that team aspect, I don't know if you're allowed to tell me this, but are you coming back for that DMR? Are you allowed to tell me?
Um, Honestly, I don't know if I am, but I will, I guess.
I'm just trying.
No, I'm just doing.
Just okay. I was gonna say I'm just trying to get a one up on our predictions and whatnot. I'm trying to align
Yeah,
everything, but
yeah, yeah.
but Juliet,
Hopefully my coach doesn't get mad at me for revealing that, but
You'll be all right.
yeah. But Julia, in terms of like, again, the more team centric side, um, it's not just you at Stanford who is a star 800-meter runner. It's also Roisin Willis, and you guys have kind of grown throughout the NCAA together in your career. With national titles, it's one of the most impressive 1-2 punches I can remember since starting. What's it like prepping for each postseason, knowing that Roisin is right by you, knowing that she's maybe just as much of your biggest threat as anyone else? What's that like trying to balance like, hey, she's a teammate, she's someone that I'm also rooting for, but also like I'm trying to beat you too, kind of thing.
yeah, I mean, I think like our relationship just really like highlights the quote of like iron sharpens iron and like how we both like see us as being teammates, like as just helping each other out. Like we both have like we've said this a lot, but like we both have very different strengths. Like Roisin has like a lot more speed and like fast twitch muscles, and I'm more, on the strength side. Like I do more like miles and 1500. So we both like have kind of different strengths, and it's so nice to be able to like work out with her and train with her and kind of like better each other on our weaknesses. So it's been like a really cool experience. I feel like we've really like balanced well with like just always wanting the best for each other and like supporting each other as teammates, but also knowing that like when one of us does well, like it's also helping the other person. And so we're, yeah, kind of like our best training partners. And I think we both came to Stanford like not really like we kind of like went through the college process of recruiting, and we were like we would love to be on the same team, but also like we both totally get it that like one of us might want something else than the other person, and like we should make our decisions, on our own, and like if it happens to work out then great, and like that's kind of what ended up happening. And so like us getting to be training partners was like kind of just like a cherry on top, and like something that we were really excited about. And yeah, it's just been really cool to have.
Awesome. That's super, super cool. Well, you and Roisin have been, battling for national titles for as far as I can remember since the very beginning of your college career. But Bella, you just ran 49.9 seconds for 400 meters at the ACC Championships. Your first time breaking 50 seconds, is that correct? Yes.
Correct. Yes.
Congratulations, first off.
Thank you.
You were already highly accomplished at Penn. You had gone to multiple national meets before, had been an All-American, but you've since come to now Arkansas, and you have just reached a different level, and it's extremely exciting. We're now putting you in the national title conversation. Can you talk about like what this change in expectations and pressure has been like? What is it that has transitioned you from Penn to Arkansas to take this kind of leap and to kind of reach this entire new tier?
Yeah. That's a great question. Um, yeah, honestly, when I got, I mean, okay, the whole reason why I went to Arkansas was because I wanted to take that big leap of faith and I wanted to get to that next level. I feel like I was very successful at Penn and I had a great coach and we went really far together. Um, but I did feel like I needed to, I was towing the line and I needed to like really like take that big leap and see kind of where I could go and where it could take me. And it just felt like Arkansas was the best place for that. And I obviously it worked out pretty well because the training has been going really well. I would say like the biggest difference, like I already mentioned, is the volume of training and the intensity of training I'm doing every week. Like coach expects a lot from us, which I am happily ready to give. Like I just feel like I'm at a point in my career where I'm super hungry. I think that's the biggest thing. I'm just really hungry. I think that's why I've been able to see a lot of success is because I just want it really bad. Um and I think kind of my experience in Paris, kind of this feeling of always having to kind of prove myself, and this feeling that people don't necessarily think that I can do what I can do, and then getting to Arkansas and coach really believing that I can do what I believe also I can do. That's how we worked really well together. And then also just the training group. I've never really had a training group as great as this one. I mean, it's been great training with the girls that are on the team, but also the girls that have since graduated. That's like, I want to be where they are. I feel like it's been just great kind of being able to train with them as well. So yeah, a lots of like moving pieces that have just like kind of clicked. But honestly, I think it's just, I'm just trying to, I'm just having fun with it, but I'm just trying to see like how far I can go. And I keep telling myself that I'm trying to write my own story because I don't think anyone can really see what's on my next page for me. And I like to think that I'm like the one with the pen in my hand and I'm the one that's actually actively writing it, and like that whatever's on the next page is insane and like it's going to like shock people. But I'm always gonna I know that's something I've always had, but now I just have the tools to really like put that into practice. And so yeah, it's just been really fun. That's long story short. Yeah.
That was motivating. I'm ready to run through a wall. That was awesome. This is awesome. Uh,
I'm glad.
yeah, that was great. Oh my god, I'm ready to go run that. This is great. Um, well, so I'm going to actually stick with you, Bella. Though I mean, so one of your biggest competitors, both at SECs and almost certainly going to be at the national meet, Aaliyah Butler of Georgia. What is it that you learned from your last battle with her in terms of maybe what you need to adjust, if anything, just to then go out and kind of pursue the highest finish possible, possibly a national title? What are some of the things that you learned from that battle, and maybe prior battles that I'm not familiar with, to get to
Sure.
that?
For sure. I think the biggest thing for me is that I'm a really big strength based runner. So I have a really good second lap. I think what I struggle with is getting out that first lap. And so that's something that we've really been trying to hone in on the last couple of weeks. Because realistically, am I going to be getting to the break first at every race that I run? Probably not. My fast twitch muscles aren't necessarily there yet, at least. I'm definitely more of a I kind of come at it for that second lap. And so it's just, can we be in striking distance and really just be in a great position to then like do what I always do, which is run it really well, run the second lap really well. So I think that's just really, it's just like kind of believing that I can finish. Like I said, the training that I've done tells me that I can finish. And just knowing that I can really fall back on that, but I need to get out. Like to run like the times that I want to run, to be like to run the best race and know that I left it all out on the track, I definitely need to work on that first at least 150 of like just getting out hard. So that's what I'm taking with me.
Awesome, awesome. Juliette, in a similar sense, you were talking about opponents who are strength-based runners. LSU's Michaela Rose is one of the most aggressive front runners I have ever seen, and yet you're someone who's probably faced her the most on the national stage, along with Roisin Willis. Um, you're also one of the runners who has been able to at least been able to contend with and beat Rose, which is a very, very small list. What is it now that you go into yet another rematch, yet another race where she's going to be in the mix for the national title? Now that you have already done it once, what is your approach to now racing her again? And knowing that in all likelihood, she will probably be very aggressive with her own front running pacing.
Yeah, I mean, I think like I kind of go to every race I race against her with kind of just like trying to keep that confidence in my own abilities, but also like knowing that every race with her is going to be like a good one. And like she always like takes us out fast, and like I can kind of count on that and kind of like, use that to my strengths, which is like kind of similar to Bella, like usually the second half of the race. But yeah, she's an incredible athlete. Like I am so fortunate for every time I get to race her, because I just know, whoever comes out on top, like it's gonna be a good race, and like we both are gonna make it good. And so yeah, kind of, using my experience with racing her, but also just like going to every race knowing that like this is a new race, and like, maybe she's not gonna run from the front, or like kind of switch up things, and like kind of just, yeah, using the past experience, but also like knowing, anything could happen.
Yeah, completely. I mean, that's anything could happen, I think, is the best way to describe any race with Michaela Rose in it. It's always incredibly entertaining. And yeah, you've certainly been part of those entertaining matchups. I have to be honest, that's kind of all I have. You guys had great answers, and I'm surprised at how quickly we got through this. But I guess my one last question, and this is more to Bella. You were at Penn. I'm a Philadelphia guy. What's the best cheesesteak in Philadelphia?
Oh,
My gosh. Everyone always asks me that. There was this place, Abner's, I believe,
Okay.
that it actually shut down. So that's why it's really sad. But funny enough, like our dad like had a lot of like he ran at Penn Relays a lot kind of growing up, and then I think in college as well. So it was his spot. Like he loved going to that spot, and it was really close to the track. But I have a lot of fond memories there. Unfortunately, yeah, it did shut down, but that's going to always have my heart for sure.
Well, no, I'm sad. This is upsetting. Okay,
Yeah,
that's
this is
okay.
really depressing way to end this.
That's all right. I still have gyms on South Street. That's my personal favorite. But you know what? I can't believe I said that out loud. I don't want anyone to know my spot. So
Yes, yeah, yeah. You should have kept that on on the DL. But I do also think that is a great cheesecake spot, and I love
it
South
is.
Street just generally. So
Yeah, it's a great spot. Well, ladies, that's all I got. I will keep you out of the cheesesteak conversation. Thank you so much both for your time, and best of luck next week at Nationals.
yeah,
thanks
thank you
so
so
much.
much. We'll see you there.
Yeah, this was fun.